You begin to sign another one? Oh, yeah.
You will.
Good, everything's good. Yours? Good.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
See you later, Paul.
Good night. Bye, Paul.
Bye-bye. Get your copy, it's also fine.
Okay, next order of business is, once again, we will meet with Mr. Carr from AT&T Broadband, formerly Media One, formerly...
You don't have time. You don't have time to go through all of them.
Formerly. And, Mr. Carr, it's nice to see you, always nice to see you. And you were put off a couple of times. We
Yes.
appreciate you coming
Snowstorms,
back,
et cetera.
snowstorms, town meetings, a few other things that I'm sure you didn't mind. But you have some information for us, do you? A
Couple of things.
couple of things.
Originally, the purpose for being here was to discuss the rate increase which was implemented on February 2nd. The rate increase affected what we refer to as standard service, which is the entire basic package. A 5% increase. The exact numbers went from $30.95 to $32.50 per month. The basic service was not affected, and that remained at $6.31. The increase was entirely on the expanded portion, going from $24.64 to $26.19. The increase was primarily, if not almost exclusively, due to increase in programming costs that we get from our vendors. Programming costs across the board went up approximately 10%, with the sports services accounting for a big bulk of that. If you isolated the sporting services, they went up almost 16%. So the great preponderance of our increase comes from their increases to us. Some of the other cost increase involved are increases in levels of customer service. So the excuse me, the a la carte premium services in some cases went up from $11.95 to $12.99. In the case of HBO, Showtime, Cinemax, and the Movie Channel went up from $10.95 to $11.99, and the Stars and Encore package went from $10.95 to $11.99. Those are all on an a la carte basis. The packaging combinations stayed the same. So I'd be more than happy to discuss, answer any questions you may have regarding that rate increase or any other cable-related issues.
It just so happens on the Stars package, when I first finally signed up for cable, which was I was a Johnny-come-lately, but there was some special deal when you got the smart box for another $10. You could get this Stars package. I guess the Stars Encore package for $10 additional a month, and that also included the on-screen
Guide. The information?
the guide,
Yeah.
on-screen guide and the regular guide with it. We were notified of the rate increase. This was just as a regular payer here, that it was going up, I think $2. No, it went to $13.50, and then the following month it went to $16. At which point I canceled it. And I was also told that if I cancel it, then the on-screen thing became an a la carte thing as opposed to part of the package. They don't offer that Stars package anymore as they offered it previously. And there was a double rate increase on that one particular, that's the only thing that I was familiar with because that's the only thing I had. And it appeared to be successful in having me give it up and go to some other expanded portion and start paying piecemeal on different items. And I didn't see it in any of the rate increases. I didn't see it in any of the packaging. It was just another little slip put into my bill, and I suppose other people who had the same package.
Again, I'm not sure exactly whether it was a promotional rate.
It was a promotional rate at the time,
Okay.
but that was, 4 years ago or something. So the package was not offered as part of the regular menu, but offered as a promotional deal. But what they said was if you want to continue it, what they did is they priced it to the point where if you were to do the à la carte, you'd be at the same price. So basically forcing you to step up to the plate and pay something that you had already contracted for, much more for. And again, it wasn't posted in the rate increases.
Okay, again, I'm not sure of the time frame involved, but, I mean, we run periodic promotions with reduced prices to interest people, but those are short-term promotions, so.
This was part of the deal with the smart boxes when you were asking people to convert over to those and take it on. And I mean, it was part of the package with that. And now what they're doing is expanding,
Well, we
increasing the
changed
price.
a lot of the packages.
You changed a lot of the packages,
Yeah.
but you increased the price on that particular deal. Again, I don't participate in an awful lot of things, Ness and I have to get because we have to watch the sports, but other than that, I just saw a substantial rate increase over a 2-month period, and I'm talking from about $10 to $16. And I thought that was an inordinate amount of,
I guess the only, I'd have to do, as I said, I'd have to do the research on the time frame and exactly to what you're referring. I'm not sure it was a rate increase per se, because I think what may have happened is, you receive a promotional rate, which,
well, they weren't taking the deal away. They weren't taking the promotion package away, and I could have kept, again, the on-screen guide and the regular guide and everything else that came along with that package, but they increased it 60% in 2 months.
again, I'd have to do the specific research. If you want to analyze it from a specific point of view, you can certainly.
I just thought, and it was right on the heels of everything else. It was effective February 1st, then March 1st.
Okay.
Boom, boom, back to back, 60% increases in that one deal to try and take the people who were on those packages, I would assume, and either guide them over to something else or
Well,
get them off.
what we were doing at the same time was launching digital television service, so a lot of those packages did change. A lot of the packages went to the digital service, so the rates and the packaging of those services it varies depending upon what your viewing habits are. And some of them do change. Some of them are promotions, and some of them do change. And again, I'm not sure whether that was a specific promotion or what the status was, but I'll look into it.
Figured I'd let you know what happened. Mr. Smith, you want to say something?
No, I just guess, it just seems like every year, or every so many months, I should say in this case, like what Mr. O'Leary just indicated, every utility or every item or every whatever, everybody just keeps inching them up, and everybody says the same thing. The reason we had to go up is because of this. It was always somebody else's problem that we had to go up. And I don't know who the guy at the very top, where he gets his money from, other than the sale of the product on the way down. But you look at your price going up, and then you just hear on the radio today, gasoline, they're gonna go up another 10 cents over the next 2 weeks. It just went up 10 cents over the last 2 weeks. That's a 20-cent increase just in gasoline. And it just never stops. And I often wonder, where is it gonna stop? It's like your rates, and not only your rates, everybody.
No,
But since you're here, we're
know,
beat on you.
No, and believe me,
people,
nobody likes to talk about a rate increase.
Natural gas now, they have a pipe that comes into your house and they charge you a delivery charge. Things like that. I mean, they're totally just out of touch with reality or something, and yet they get away with that stuff.
I'm not going to disagree with.
Some people's bills on natural gas have gone up as much as $150 in a month.
Again, no one likes to deliver information about a rate increase, but I've been in front of you for 15 years now.
Yeah, we have.
I still think that the standard package, basic cable service, at roughly $32, $33 a month, is a terrific value. I think that.
I tend to agree with you on that particular phase.
And we're in competition, and we're trying to keep the rates down.
Right.
And you're talking about the guy at the top. It might be might be Manny Ramirez this year on the top of that.
That's exactly what I'm driving at. I mean, they pay these guys
Yeah.
$100 million a year,
And then they try to recapture some of that cost, you know, by passing it on to us. And,
realistically, the people that
yeah.
are looking at the TV are paying
Yeah.
his salary, but, I mean, I understand all
Yeah.
that. But when you take $2 on your bill and $2 on light bill and $2 on heat bill and $2, by the time you multiply the $2 by 40, it's $80 a month.
No, I mean,
to a lot of people.
I'm a consumer just like you are, and I look at those same numbers.
Do you have a card, like if some member on this board wanted to contact you
Yes,
personally?
Mr. Young has got all my numbers,
Okay.
so that,
You do have
you know,
them?
we are in constant contact, which brings me to a somewhat more unpleasant topic, if you can think of that, rather than a rate increase. I've been shifted a little bit, and I'm not going to be directly responsible for North Reading. And one of the other things that I wanted to do this evening was bring a fellow in and introduce him to you. I've already done it with the manager, and he'll be more directly responsible for North Reading. I'll be in the same position, but I'll have responsibility for a couple of other towns now, other than North Reading. His name is Rob Travers. You know, he's very, very competent. He'll be housed, by the way, in North Reading, which I never was. He'll be down on, we have a facility on Concord Street now. I don't know whether you're familiar with that we're leasing a lot of space, and we have a lot of trucks rolling out of there now. So he'll be very local. You know, it's and again, I'm not trying to dodge, I'll answer any more questions, but since that did arise, Tom has met him, he's got his numbers. I'll still be available, and Tom's also got my numbers. So you know, I've been here for 15 years, so I got a lot of history here. I was thinking tonight as I drove up here, the ball hadn't even rolled through Buckner's legs when I arrived here. So, you know.
I can honestly say, on behalf of myself, anyway, as long as I've been on this board, it's been 9 years. Hopefully it's going to be 3 more. But I get that little pitch in. But you have been very cooperative
I appreciate
with any
that.
concerns that this board has had in relation to cable TV. And I certainly appreciate that. I'm sure your fellow employee will be the same.
No, I'll be around, and you know, if for some reason, the nice thing that'll happen is if there's some historical precedent that he's not aware of, you know, I'll still be there. So I told Tom he can pick up the phone.
Oh, they just shifted territories?
Well, what they did is when we acquired a lot of the Cablevision properties, there's an awful lot of licenses to be renegotiated. So being the guy with gray hair and glasses, I picked up a few of those. So you know, I've got a relatively full plate with some license negotiations. So they're
A few more nights out, huh?
If this is Thursday, it must be Brookline and that type, you know, that type of. But again, you know, Rob will be housed very locally, and he's a good man. And
Now, is there going to be a counter over there that people can?
no, this is just this is where we roll trucks from, and it's a lot of administrative. It's not a customer service center, but it's you know, it's we got a lot of vehicles.
Any chances of getting one over there?
There's always a chance, always possibility. You know, I'm not. I think you know, we're just getting the kinks out right now, and we've had a lot of other building problems. I was in Winchester until about 6 weeks ago when there was 4.5 feet of water in the first floor. So now I'm in Andover again.
I hope you're on the 3rd floor now.
I was on the second
Yeah, yeah.
floor. I was on the second floor, but no, when that I don't know if it was 6 weeks, 3.5, 4 weeks ago when the heavy rains hit. I know Mr. Bagans are familiar with the area, but right off of Cross Street, you know, there's a valley that's built in there, and you know, I pulled my car into there one day and then pulled it out, just barely getting it out in time. So I'm up in Andover now. But again, in answer to your original question, all of those phone numbers and email addresses are available.
Very good, thank you.
We've Bill Berry from the Cable Advisory Committee. I don't know, Bill, if you had any questions or comments or observations?
Not at this time. I was just invited in to see what was addressed tonight.
Jim,
you mentioned